We are live. Hello and good day.
Hello.
Hello, Helen. Hi. Kate says hi. Hi,
Hi,
Kate.
Kate.
We are here with Spotlights with Dory of Doris Jones Labors of Love, and we are spotlighting Paint Slingers this month, and we are starting it off with a fabulous painting by Helen Tretyakova. Wait, Oh fuck, Tret. You know,
It's all good.
I thought I pronounce her last name for everyone.
It's Tretyakova.
Tretyakova. See how good I sound after you say it?
Yep.
Yeah, not really, but okay, I try. So tell me about this piece that I know this is Nick Cage, and I know it's from a movie. So why don't we
Yes.
start there, and you tell me what you're going to work on today?
So this is Nicolas Cage from Vampire's Kiss. It's a movie from the 80s, and it's an amazing, absurd movie, and I just had to paint it. So pretty much like he thinks he's turning into a vampire the entire movie, but he's not. He's just losing it.
He's just losing it.
Yeah, it's great.
Because you did one of the images I used in the video is a girl from the movie, right? Called Mandy, I think the name on
Yes.
the okay. And
Yes.
and she's what, his girlfriend or
So Mandy, it's another movie. It's from 2018.
oh, it's a different movie. Okay.
Yeah, it's a different movie, and Nicolas Cage in that movie is her husband, and he kind of goes on the Nicolas Cage revenge, and it's one of my favorite movies. It's just really, really trippy, and the cinematography is amazing, and you kind of don't know exactly what's going on. Like, it's based off of like this hippie cult that is just doing this crazy acid, and yeah, it gets. I don't want to like.
Vampire's Kiss. That's the name of the. Is that the name of the Nick Cage one?
Yes.
And then Brightest D4Y of Brightest Day has clapping hands, I think, up for us. So, okay. So the movie Mandy, though, is a whole different thing. And I haven't seen, it's funny. I haven't seen either of those movies, and I don't know how I missed them, but.
I would definitely recommend them. Again, like Mandy's like a trippy, really colorful movie. And Vampire's Kiss is just fun and absurd the entire time.
I like the absurd part, because I think that's kind of life in general can be very absurd.
Oh yeah. Can't take yourself too seriously.
I was, we're gonna, for those of you watching, Helen and I are gonna just create side by side and do this very casually, but I'm sure I will come up with some questions to keep our conversation going. So like one that I was thinking of, I wanted to ask you was, How young were you when you got the bug to paint and started painting?
So I actually really, I've always drawn a little bit, and I've done other things like I've mostly used to do like charcoal drawings and pencil drawings, and but I never stuck to it,
Uh-huh.
and I could never sit there and finish a painting or like a drawing completely. Like it would just kind of be like doodles all the time. And I actively started painting about 3 years ago.
Okay. Do you know roughly how many paintings you've done in those 3 years since you started?
I want to say probably around 40 or 50.
Okay. Yeah, it might. I don't know, man. It might be a higher number because I think just even putting the video together that I put together today, I think I used like 20 images or something like that, and there were so many. Like usually I can like set it to 3 seconds per image and stuff, but I made the second count on each picture only 2 seconds, so that I could fit more pictures in. And
Oh,
I did not use everything you have.
yeah, it's probably more than that. And I haven't posted everything that I've done. So I'm sure it's more than that. I try to paint every day. So especially now with like work and being so busy with work, I've been getting smaller canvases just so I can sit down and paint every day. So I'm sure, yeah, I've probably done more than that by this time.
That is what I was going to ask you next. Was uh, I lost my train of thought. So I was looking at what I want to do with what I'm doing, and I was like, wait a minute, how am I going to do this effect? I don't know. Anyway, um, oh, and was it always on canvas when you started this? 3 years ago when you started, did you just go straight to canvas?
Yes, I first started on like panel boards and then I switched to stretched canvases.
Okay, nice. And most of the time when you paint, do you feel like you get an idea from somewhere, or is it just something comes over you? Do you usually have something in mind before you get the canvas out, or is that usually
Um,
like this was planned, right? Doing the one with Nick Cage was a planned thing,
yes,
right?
this
Shannon,
one was planned out.
Shannon is here. She says, "Hey."
Hi, Shannon.
That was planned. Okay, so this, and then how
The,
often do you feel like? I mean, you have times where you just there is no plan and you just find yourself at the canvas and it just kind of does what it's going to do.
yeah, so a lot of times I'll go from like a feeling um, or an emotion that I'm either currently feeling or I have felt in the past, and I just sit down and I start painting it. Um, and then a lot of times I'll plan out a painting and then it turns into something else. So
Oh yeah,
it just kind of, depends.
I've had that happen where like it doesn't even end up what I was originally doing or originally thinking it was going to be.
Hmm.
And do you and
And
I know, huh? So what? Sorry.
uh, I was just gonna ask you, how long have you been painting?
Um. So I did charcoal primarily a long, long time ago. and then I transitioned to using color because I would only do black and white charcoal stuff. That was all I would do for a long time. And when I transitioned to using color in probably around 7 years ago, I started incorporating color, and I was back then I was working on paper, because I was being someone that came from charcoal and mostly using charcoal. I had done a few pieces in charcoal on canvas, pretty rare, but every now and then I would do a gift, or I would do a piece as a gift or whatever, and I would usually, though if I that wasn't a lot of those, but when I did do anything like that, it was usually a piece on canvas. And I think I switched to canvas maybe 3 or 4 years ago, probably around the same time that you started doing it. And it was a thing, man. It was not easy to transition to canvas. It was something else. It was definitely different. It was it still is. It still is. I mean, I still learn things I don't want to do again, things I do want to do again, things that work, things that don't work, that kind of thing. It just has changed. It's morphed into different things, different ways I do stuff. Shannon says, I love the expression on Nick's face.
It's priceless.
Right?
It's the best part of the movie. He completely lost it at this point.
Yeah. He's definitely one of those actors that has a range that's quite significant. Like, he's got quite a range.
Yeah.
So.
Some of the stuff he's been doing lately, like which is mostly horror movies, and he's been doing really well in them.
Yeah, he's definitely kind of gotten into a few of the more less mainstream kind of thing than what he was, which is not a bad thing. I think that sometimes that's a good thing, but
I think in his case, it's that he found like his thing. I think he fits in way better.
Yeah.
Into the non-mainstream stuff.
I totally can agree. Yeah. There's just a couple of actors that are like that, where they're so good at a certain thing or a certain type of what they do.
Mm.
So I just recently went back to working on paper when I did this illustrated haiku book, and I hadn't worked on paper in a long time, and I had gotten super accustomed to canvas and super accustomed to paint. Shannon said that's a great movie, and it was different, man. I almost didn't really have a breakdown, but I certainly had a meltdown a couple of times. I was I wasn't having it. I wasn't feeling it. The paper, I hadn't been on paper for so long, and I felt like whatever skill I had was gone. You know, it was kind of crazy. And it all went away one night where I just, out of the blue, instead of grabbing a pencil or what I would have normally used to do the illustration, I grabbed a charcoal pencil.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the night that I shifted my whole, like, I got into the groove of working on paper again. I had to go back to an older medium. And so you said that you didn't just, so you never painted before a couple of years ago? What about when you were younger?
When I was younger, I would paint like here and there, but it wasn't anything, like I didn't really put this much effort into it.
Okay.
If that makes sense. It was kind of like, there was zero effort, and it was what it was. And I still enjoy doing it, but I didn't want to just sit there and like draw and paint when I was younger.
And did you have what was the? I know you right now. What you're using acrylics, right?
Right now it's acrylics, yes.
Is that what you primarily use as acrylics?
Right now, no, I mostly I switched to oil this
Okay.
year, and I've been sticking to oil, but with just my new schedule at work and stuff, I kind of get put off. Like I want to come home and paint, but then a lot of times the painting I'm working on is not dry yet, and then I either have to start like a new one, or and I kind of just want to sit there for hours on end and finish something. So in that case, I'll do acrylics, just because they dry so much faster. But I prefer to use oils.
Okay. I just finished my very first oil painting I ever done. Um,
Oh, yay!
I I started it on Mother's Day, and I just finished it.
Yeah, it took a while to dry.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like I've learned to not force it when I'm on a piece. I've learned not to force it and put it away when I get to a stopping point. And with the oil paintings, I thought, okay, well, this will work because I know how to stop. I know how to let it, whatever. But that drying thing, I mean, because I use mostly watercolors, which talk about dry fast, man.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I rarely have to deal with waiting for something to dry. I could go and finish the whole dang piece if I want. And when you come from like being not spoiled to that, but that's what my head's at. That oil was hard to adjust to. It was really hard to adjust to that. It really was.
Yeah, I had to watch a bunch of like videos on YouTube and stuff before I even, because I wanted to try it for a really long time, and I was
Uh-huh.
just so scared to to try oils because from everything I've heard, it sounded so complicated. So
Right.
I did a bunch of research on it, and then I got like the stuff that was like recommended to start with, and I kind of just listened to like what most of the painters on there say. Like with acrylics, for example, I can start with the lights, the darks. It doesn't really matter. But with oils, it's best to start with the darks and then add the lighter colors in there,
Okay.
which is completely new and different to me.
Yeah, that would be
And
that'd be an adjustment for sure.
mhm.
Do they also like? Is there any kind of particular recommendation for those in terms of whether you do like foreground versus background colors first, second, or whatever? Is there anything like that?
With oils,
Yeah.
um, I it honestly depends on how you paint. Like for example, for me, like I'll make a lot of mistakes when I paint. So when I do oils, I try to do the background first, and then I'll work like if I'm doing like a face or something or like a body position,
Uh huh.
then I'll work from my way from the top down and then just do like little section by section, because if I go in, you know, like drawing like eyes and like the nose and like the facial like structure with oils, I know I'm gonna make a mistake and then I'm gonna have to wait until it dries to fix it.
Oh yeah. I've been doing a lot of stuff on paper again, and the it. Oh, it was kind of a good thing, even though I had like this annoyance about it. But now that I have, I've noticed that when I come back to do stuff on the canvas again, I have other ideas now that I hadn't really things I'm taking from stuff I did on paper and incorporating it into my canvas pieces, and I'm finding that to be pretty satisfying. To
That's awesome.
have like an extra layer of the creativity in there to what I was doing before. That's been a welcome, nice part of it. The difference. Okay. If I can just, like this piece I'm working on now, all I'm doing right now is an outline because I'm not even going to try to put paint to her yet until I've got her outline right, because she's really mostly just going to be a silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing how, like, even though I know I'm really okay. I'm making it sound simple. All I'm doing is a silhouette, but that silhouette, man, you don't get one little line of it right, it's just not going to look right.
Oh yeah, you have to make sure like the proportions are correct, and
Exactly.
and there's not that much room like for mistakes. Like I know like when I paint, portraits, or I can just cover like a part that I don't like with like hair or something, but a silhouette has to be like really straight lines, or perfect curves.
Yeah. And what's cool is sometimes like I literally will see. Have you ever had this happen where you're working on it and the figure, like, now, I mean, you had a plan doing Nicholas, but when you've done other pieces maybe where you didn't have something in mind first, have you ever found that the figure or the person's come out of the canvas at you? Has that ever happened?
What do you mean?
Where they showed themselves. They
Oh, yes, definitely. I have one that actually I will never sell. um, and I had a dream, and I kept seeing this figure in my dream, and then I woke up and I was like, well, I have to try to paint it, and I'm not used to painting something without some sort of like reference for proportions.
Okay.
So I ended up painting him, and it just, I don't know, like when I look at it, it just looks alive to me, if that makes sense. Like
it makes perfect sense to me. That makes perfect sense to me, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I made my figure's body so big that I don't have room for her head, but I'm going to fix that. So I love, okay, so like I do I don't know if you were talking about making mistakes and stuff. So I do this thing where a lot of my paintings are the way they are because of something I didn't get what I was going for right or whatever, and so I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to adjust that, and it'll be different.
Exactly. I've done that before with one of my paintings where usually, like I said, I start from like the top down, but here I started from the bottom. It's a like woman. That's the one where her like neck spirals and she has 6 eyes. I don't know if you saw that one. She's sitting on a chair, and once I finished the body, I got the body exactly how I wanted, but I realized I didn't have enough room for her head, so I made her neck turn into like a snake neck and just pop out from the side.
That's rad. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, and that's exactly what I just did. Now, think I'm going to put a snake in this, but I am. I am going. I just had to move her arm. So originally the arm was going to be above her head, but it's going to be in a different position. And once I get the proportions for that right, then I can do what I'm going to end up doing with her head. I'll figure it out. That's one thing about. Do you have any artist or someone, who is the artist that you feel like maybe influenced you with your work? Like, is there someone who gives you some of your influence?
Well, I mean, my mom's always like drawn and painted like throughout her life and stuff, so I always enjoy doing art with her. But as an artist, my favorite artist is Dorothea Tanning.
Okay.
It's more like, I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's an American painter, and she did kind of like surrealism.
Okay.
And it's similar to like Dolly and stuff, but her artwork, like I can always look at it for like hours on end because there's so much going on in the painting, and all her paintings feel like so dreamlike to me, which is something I can always like relate to, and I always love all of her work.
I'm gonna have
so I would say,
I'll have to get you to send me that name so I can look it up, because I had a lot of influence by Gustav Klimt. But it's not all of the influence. I mean, I still find that some of what I do is just whatever's in my head. Like I will literally fuck around with a canvas until what's in my head comes on canvas.
Exactly. I can relate to that.
And sometimes that's all in a day, and sometimes that takes a long time.
Yeah.
Like that oil painting did not really come to like what it ended up with now, or how he's now, is he didn't show himself until now granted, he also was on the wall for a long time. I wouldn't go back for some reason. I just kept leaving it alone. Didn't want to get out the oils, didn't want to deal with the mess of the oils, that kind of thing. And what's really cool is that sometimes I feel like, because I'm not great on learning proportion or knowing proportions right off, I'm learning. I'm trying to take, little lessons here and there to get better at proportions. But I'm finding that sometimes I come up with a way more unique, abstract, because I don't do realism, so it's abstract realism. And I come up with something far more neat than if I had done it the other way, I think. At least in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's definitely like, it adds like a sense of style to it, and it's more unique, I think.
Yeah. And I feel like that's been a good thing about not having, the formal, perfect figuring, out proportion kind of thing, is that I get this different uniqueness to them that I may not have otherwise had. And I like that. I like that about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, other than painting, do you have any other like creative outlets or creative aspirations, other forms of art that you do?
I've done a few claymations, and I absolutely love doing claymation. It's just, it takes so long to make.
Oh yeah.
Like a 1 minute video. Like if you actually want it to flow well and not look too jerky. I think I did a claymation video I think last year, and that video was about 1 minute and like 15 seconds or a minute and 20 seconds. Well, it took me a good 8 hours to sculpt the whole thing. And then it took me 7 hours straight just sitting there to film it.
Oh, wow.
So it's very time consuming, and a lot of things like I noticed would like go wrong during the filming process, so it just makes it a little bit more stressful. But in the future, when I do have more downtime, I want to make more. I also do wood burning. I want to get into wood carving.
Have you ever heard of wood blocking?
No, what's that?
So it's a Japanese form of art where they take a block of wood and they carve a painting into it so that you can then use it to print. Because after you're done with the carving or the mold or whatever, it's not a mold, it's a carving, but you can ink it. You put ink on the wood, and then you can take that and you press it on paper or canvas, and it creates these prints. It's like taking a piece of wood and turning it into like a print plate, in like if you were gonna do prints from
That's so cool.
yeah. And so I didn't even know what they were, and someone asked me because when I did the haiku book, my haikus are, of course, haikus are Japanese poems. That's
Hmm.
that's where they originated from, was Japanese. And so someone asked
Hmm.
me, because I illustrated the haikus, they're like, "Oh, you know how cool it would be to do the whatever image it was that I had used to for the haiku, take that image and put it on a wood block and turn it into something where people could get prints from it." I was like, "Oh, that sounds interesting." You know?
Yeah.
So talk about a tedious process from what it sounded like, though, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it definitely sounded like a seriously tedious. Yeah, it would be a tedious process
It's
for sure.
really tedious, and I've tried wood carving like before without the proper tools.
Uh-huh.
And I cut myself so many times, honestly.
Yeah.
It's you'll definitely, I feel like, especially in the learning process, like no matter who start, I feel like everybody is gonna end up getting hurt when they first try it.
Wood blocking.
Yeah.
The wood. Oh wait, burning. Wood burning.
Wood blocking or wood, carving.
What do you use to burn the wood with? Like one of those heated, some kind of heated thing,
Yeah,
elements?
yeah, it's oh my, it's like a soldering gun.
Okay.
And but this one is made for wood burning, so it has like different attachments to it, and you can control the temperature.
Okay.
So there's a lot you can do with it. Super fun.
Sounds interesting. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know if I'd want to do something where I'm burning something, but maybe. Earlier, I meant to tell Shannon I was gonna yesterday on my morning spotlighting show. I had a guy who he hand paints these pages for this comic book he's on, and he did a Batman and a half Batman, half Joker. Actually, I think he was on that party painting thing that you came on and painted with us. Do you remember the guy named Max?
Yes,
Yeah,
I do.
yeah. So Max, oh my God, Helen, he did this Joker Batman thing, and for part of the page before he started doing the actual painting, he
Uh,
he airbrushed the paper with an airbrush gun. And I was tripping on the video because it's in the video, and I'm like, airbrush, because I know, like, Shannon had asked me that a while back if I had ever done airbrushing, and I'm like, no. But when I watched his video, I was just stunned at what he was able to do with an airbrush gun on paper for a paper piece. And I was like, wow. Like it was something. It was quite surprising actually.
Yeah, I know a few people that use airbrush, and like some of like the effects they can get on like paper or canvas, it just looks insane.
Right.
I feel like I've tried. I think I tried airbrushing like a really long time ago without knowing what I was doing, and it did not come out looking good. But I would definitely want to learn the proper way to do stuff.
Yeah, well, like I would, the idea of doing it as, like the whole medium of art kind of is intimidating. I don't know if but to do it the way what he did is he airbrushed the page before he started doing all the fine detail, and that made sense to me because it was kind of like laying down a foundation of background, if and
Yeah,
that my mind could wrap around that. I'm like, oh, I could wrap around that, for sure.
yeah.
And so that was pretty interesting to me. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's super cool. Smart.
Yeah, I was quite a yeah, it was a time lapse speed video kind of thing. So like you get to watch from start to finish, and
Hmm.
at the end I was just like, oh wow, just like wow, like holy crap, it was quite something. And do you ever paint outside, or have you ever thought, or have you ever gotten tempted to try that where you're painting on location?
I've done that about 2 times.
Uh-huh.
At like a river. No, sorry, it was a lake, and then um, also like a camping forest ground,
Yeah.
which is super peaceful, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially when you're by yourself and nobody's like coming up and just there was no people. That was the best thing.
Did you go
Because
with an easel and paint with an easel, or how were you?
I have a little like portable easel, so I just sit on the ground. Um, I have like my bigger one, but it's just kind of like a pain in the ass to bring anywhere. So I have like a little one, and I just bring paint and a little easel, and I sat down and painted, and there was no people. I tried to do that once before in an area where they do have a lot of people, and why I stopped doing it and I didn't want to do it again after that was people kept coming up and just like, what are you doing? What are you painting? Are you going to paint that? and, or, oh, that doesn't really look like the tree over there. And I'm like, well, I just started it. Go away.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
That would bug the crap out of me. Like, yeah, of course it does. See, I'm the kind of, you probably were really actually going for the tree, but knowing me, part of why I've never bothered is because I don't do landscapes. It just is. It's not that interesting to me to do landscape kind of stuff.
Hmm.
I'd be maybe sitting in front of a tree, but maybe I'd be painting a vagina. I don't know. I really do really abstract things sometimes, and it's rare.
Yeah.
It would probably be rarely what's in front of me.
The times that I've painted outside, I'll use the landscape background, and then I'll put in like a figure or like a naked girl in it, or
Oh, nice.
or
Yeah.
just I like to add something from my imagination in the wherever I'm at.
I totally can get that. I'm like that same way. Like I often would, it's very often that a woman is going to be in one of my paintings. I paint a lot of females for what just
Yeah.
whatever that means. That doesn't really matter. I stopped putting any thought into it a long time ago.
Hmm.
So
I love painting like the female figure. It's just number one. There's like a lot of great reference photos out there,
right.
and there's just something beautiful about the female form. And even with like when I paint like faces and stuff, like obviously everyone's face is very different, but it's just I don't know something about painting like female features and the female body. I really enjoy doing a lot.
Yeah, me too. Definitely my preference. I have done a few males, but the female form is my favorite. I think, well, I don't think, I know a lot of it has to do with the fact that my favorite painter was Gustav Klimt. And Gustav Klimt, that was the primary, like, he painted all kinds of stuff, but he painted tons of women. Um, and that's just, I'm drawn to, not trying to replicate anything he did, but he definitely had a huge influence on what my brain sees when it comes to, or wants to see when it comes to art.
Hmm.
So.
Yeah, I can totally agree with that.
Yeah. Do you ever play music when you're painting? Is that a norm for you to have music on? Like right now, if we weren't live and talking and stuff.
I have to have music on or like a documentary, just some kind of background noise.
Oh,
I
okay. What
I
kind of documentaries would be your thing to put on?
For documentaries, I like a lot of like mystery or like true crime
Oh, nice.
or um anything like about like the planet or animals. But for the most part, I stick to music when I paint.
Okay. Any music in particular? I know you said your boyfriend's in a band. Is that right?
Yeah, he's in a bunch of bands.
Yeah,
He's
that's
in a
right.
lot of bands.
I knew it was more than one. And do you put his music on, or do you? What did you?
I
What would you say his kind of music was? Was it punk?
So he does like he has a punk band, then he also does like metal, like avant-garde metal, black metal, death metal,
Okay.
um like some like doom type stuff. So just like various like different versions of rock, I guess. And I'll only put on his like stuff for the most part if I'm working on any of his like album art.
Okay.
Then I'll listen to the album like in full several times while I'm like painting a cover.
Ah, yeah.
Um, but other than that, there a lot of stuff like I will listen to. He has like, and I'm not just saying that because he's my boyfriend, because I wouldn't say it because I didn't like the music. But he actually has like a lot of really good music, so I do listen to it from time to time.
Yeah, sometimes I'm listening to music, but um sometimes I'll have a movie on. I'll put movies on, like movies I've seen a bunch of times. I like they're like repeater films, where like
Mhm.
I've seen them a bunch of times, but I still like I love listening to them or having them on in the background.
I call those comfort movies. I have a lot of those.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
movies I can watch over and over again. Or and the thing is, like, I don't like having movies on in the background that I haven't seen yet that are interesting because then I get distracted. Um,
yeah.
so that yeah, I'll get distracted.
Oh, if it's one
If
you haven't seen,
hmm
but the ones you've seen, or do those
Oh
would
yeah, the ones I've seen I can have them on because I already know like what's going on. But if it's like an interesting movie I haven't seen and like something cool's going on, like I'll stop painting and I'll just sit there and watch it for a while.
yeah. Exactly. That I think that has a lot to do with why I put on movies that I have seen before. Because I would do yeah, I'd probably do the same thing. I'd get distracted and then not watch it.
hmm That's why I like putting on documentaries so much is because I don't. It's like I mostly just listen to them. I don't really need to see anything.
Yep, I hear you on that. It's like listening to a podcast almost, or you
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Yeah, so Gustav Klimt was he did a lot of females and he did a lot of uh like a lot of paintings where there was more than one female in the painting. Lots of like he would do uh naked ladies in the swimming position or in water, or some of them were. He did this one called The Three Women, and it was the representation of the three stages of a woman's life. So it's an older lady, old ragged kind of, and the old lady's naked, and
hmm
the next lady is a woman. She's a young mom, and she's holding a baby, and she's holding a little baby girl, and it's called Three Women. And it's one of my favorites. Oh wow, okay. Nick Turner says, "Awesome baby, Cage Rage." Is that your boyfriend?
Yes, hi babe.
Did you
You said, did you find the file? That's from the movie where, like, I'm sure you've seen all like the gifs and memes.
Uh-huh.
Um, if you've seen like most of the Nicolas Cage gifs and memes, they're from this movie. So there's
Okay.
one where he's just like has his eyes wide open and like he just looks insane staring at the camera. That's
Right.
where he's saying, "Did you find the file?"
So I was going to show you this, Helen, before I transition to paint. So this is my sketch on my.
Awesome.
I'm going to put her, but her head seems really. I know it's hard to even see, but her head seems small to me, evidently. But I'm going to make it
Let
work.
me see. I
Um,
think it looks good.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
I've kind of cut her head off at the forehead, so it's not exactly what I was going for, but I think it'll work. I do have wait, one of my friends, Glenn Fleming, is here. He says, "Hey Dory, it's 2:47 in England. He's in England. Can't sleep.
uh-huh.
So what better way to spend my insomnia than watching your show?" Yes, we're
Yes.
co-creating side by side. This So yeah, I'm gonna do the rest of everything around her is her hair, basically.
That's gonna look awesome.
Thank you.
It's gonna look. I do that a lot too with certain paintings. I've cut the head off because it's either some days like I just kind of want that view, or some days it just didn't, fit
Right.
into the canvas. So I'm just like, that's the good thing about art. There's no rules.
Yeah, that exactly. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, well, I got the boobs in there.
That's the most important part.
I got the boobs.
You got the boobs.
And I got the belly. And I got her neck pretty close to what I wanted. And so yeah, we'll just, whatever. It just
As long as the boobs are in there, that's all that matters.
I'm almost liking the look of the pencil as the medium, honestly. But I'm gonna try my best to not go crazy and turn her into like 50 million color painting of stuff, because I tend to do that. I'm learning little by little to appreciate less is more, or simplicity, or I don't know how to say it, but because I get going on a painting and then like my head tells me that it needs to be complicated and intricate and 50 million colors, and it so does not. It's fine if it does.
I do that too a lot. I think when I paint a lot of times, like that's why like my style in painting constantly looks different, because like I'll paint one way and then there's days where I'm like, you know what, I just want to have I just want to paint. I don't care how it's going to come out. And I want to try this style out. And then I end up liking it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, that willingness to try is so good. And I'm like, that has kept me from second guessing some of my stuff sometimes, like where I'm sitting there going, just try it. You want to try it. You want to try something new. Just do it, and second guessing myself can take away from the whole thing. And
Yeah.
it can be hard to do that, but I've had to learn to give myself a break in a way.
Mm-hmm. I'll do that to myself a lot also, where I'll have an expectation. I'll be like, no, I need to have it this way, or I need to add this to it, or it needs to look a certain way. And then I have to like pull myself out of that mindset and be like, well, why? Why does it have to look like that?
Exactly. And most of the time it doesn't. And it's I like, did you ever follow Bob Ross? Have you ever watched Bob Ross?
I love Bob Ross. Happy Little Trees.
Yeah. So much of my freedom to do whatever the fuck I want to do on canvas is because I can hear Bob in my head telling me. Do you ever get that? Do you ever get someone in your head, like whether it's Bob or some other person, maybe even yourself, just saying, you know what? There's nothing wrong with this.
Yes, it's usually Bob Ross. Or have you ever seen oh my gosh, what was his name? I think his name was Michael something. He was Bob Ross's teacher.
Oh.
So he was on the show before him. And this guy is like, just like, he's always like painting mighty little clouds. Oh, take that mighty brush. And he's just like pretty much like teaching you to like get your like anger out, kind of. And then he'll just take like paint and just like throw it on the canvas, and he'll be like, yeah, we'll start from here and make a mighty little sky. Like, and it's just so good to watch. Because he's just like this. He doesn't care, and it's like, and I think that's important, that a lot of people or artists, they forget that, like, I think we tend to put too much pressure on what we're doing for no reason.
I would have totally, yeah, I probably it's one of those things where I probably know who you're talking about, but my memory or my brain's just not coming up with it. But
Yeah, I'm horrible with names, but I'll find a link and I'll send it to you after. I think his name was Michael something.
okay, yeah, because that sounds like he's right up my alley, man. That's yeah,
Oh,
I'm all about that. Could
he's great.
make the sky and the trees, and how Bob would say, like he would talk about how he would dream about how there was little squirrels living under the trees over here, and there's a little squirrel family and their little squirrel house, and it
Yeah.
was funny. It was pretty
And
funny.
then there's times where he'll have an actual baby squirrel in his pocket.
Oh yeah, he and his wife they actually did like squirrel rescue, and
Did they really?
yeah, yeah, for real.
Okay, that makes sense now.
That's a real thing with him and his wife. They would do that. They would find, like if they found a squirrel that lost its way or didn't have a home or whatever, they would, reacclimate it to health or get it back to health, and then put it back in the wild or get it back to the whatever. Yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah, very much.
What an awesome human being.
Yeah, he was something else. He was just, there's a couple of like that thing about knowing what to do with a mistake came from Bob Ross. Um, because, there's been many times where I could have easily thrown something out or never looked at it again, completely considered it ruined entirely, but I didn't have to because I had him in my head telling me, no, no, we're just gonna do this, or whatever he would say.
Mhm.
So that 100% came from Bob. That ability to look at a mistake or see a mistake I might have made and be okay with it, and just figure out how to make it work in whatever I was going to do. The other thing was what he would say about when, this canvas is your world to create. Nobody gets to tell you what to do here, and I love that. I love that. I'm all about that. And then
Yeah.
the other one was art is supposed to make you happy. It's supposed to make you feel happy. So that right there is one of the reasons why if I get to a certain point in a painting, like it's, whatever's not working or I'm not feeling it, or I feel like I'm getting lazy, whatever it might be, that's what's helped me learn to put the painting aside and wait to come back to it at a later date, in a later time,
Yeah.
because I've had, yeah, and not force it, just not force it. I've had so many times where if I left to my devices without that inspiration from Bob Ross, the happy thing, like if I'm not feeling happy, I will put the painting away because I will hear him saying that. It's like, no, art's supposed to make you happy. If it's not making you happy, like, okay. So I try that. I try to use that as a measure of when I might need a break or when I might need to put a piece to rest for, come back to it later, kind of a thing.
Yeah. I'm slowly trying to teach myself to do that. Because a lot of times I'll just keep working on it.
Right.
And then I start hating it. And then I get stubborn and I'm like, well, I have to finish it now.
Yeah. Well, there has been a few times where and I've done, oh man, I've had so many love-hate relationships with my pieces while I'm working on them. So many. And sometimes I have to not necessarily stop right away when I'm feeling that hate feeling, but
Uh-huh.
I do have to keep working on it until I'm okay. Like I'm okay. I can put this away right now.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can't. I'm like, no, I'm not putting you away right just yet. Sometimes it's, my own stubbornness really comes out of me.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably, I don't know how you can, if you can't really see the effect I did, but she's still yellow,
Uh-huh.
but I'm going through it.
Oh, that's so cool. I see that. And
Yeah, I'm basically water painting, like it's water on. I'm taking it and I blended the pencil. Oh fuck! I just fucked her leg up. Whatever. I'll fix it. I will fix it. Um. hmm. It's one of the things I learned kind of by accident, actually, about how I paint the whole canvas one color, but then when I'm actually working on it, there's that white that's below it that will come through depending on what I do with the colors and the water.
Mhm.
And it sometimes ends up being kind of like giving, like, if I were using white paint, I get the same effect, but I didn't have to actually use any paint. Then, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. That's really smart.
Let's fix her leg again. Splot all the water. Because my goal with this one is I want to do at least one piece in my life that's truly pastel. Because I don't do that ever.
I'm sorry, truly what?
Pastel.
Pastel?
I don't do pastel. Everything I do is bright and brilliant colors, and I wanted to try to stick to something different, if that makes sense. So
It does.
yeah. But I've been known to get all the way to the end. I did this one not too long ago. I think you saw it. It's this one. It's a girl. She's mostly naked, but she's got black underwear on, and
Mhm.
I get her all the way to the end, all the way to the end of being done, or so I think it's done. And I wake up one day and I can't take it anymore, Helen. So I ended up outlining her in black. So she's this real pastel skin tone, just a cream colored, skin tone. But I couldn't
Mhm.
take it, and I sat here one morning and I outlined her in black because I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it anymore. This is just what I do. I couldn't take it. So
I I've done that before with certain paintings. I get it.
I'm like, it was a good idea, but this isn't working for me. I couldn't, and I also kind of like originally, however I did her lips originally, I couldn't stand, and so that I kept going back to her mouth on the painting, and I'm like, I gotta fix this, and I kept, for like I think 3 days straight, I kept messing with her face, and then
Mhm.
I finally got them to what I like, and I'm like, okay, this I can do, this I can do. So she's better. She's better. She's one of my finished pieces.
I've told myself like not to ever paint when I'm super angry or like start a new painting if
Oh
I
yeah.
get really mad. There's one and I think you did post it on the
Oh, is it in
some of
the?
the paintings that I've been doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the nauseating rage. And I was actually working on another painting, and then I got so mad that I completely just covered that other painting and painted that.
Oh, I've done that before. Covered a painting with another painting.
I've done it before if I'm painting something I don't like how it looks, and I've tried to, make it work several times, and then it just keeps, I'm not happy with it, then I'll paint over it, and then I'll start fresh with a new painting. But this one, it was actually, I was looking good, and I liked it, and then I sat down to work on it, but I was so mad, I was just went a little crazy on it.
Yeah. I had one I painted over it, like just I literally it was a clown actually, and that's another one of the ones I did recently where it literally had like 4 or 5 different totally different looks before I finally settled on what it ended up being. And at one point, I took black paint and I totally black painted that whole thing. And it ended up being a way better piece than what I was going for. And I made this frosty kind of effect. I like it. It's all right. That's another one. Do you have this thing? Do you do this thing where like you'll paint the painting and you know it may never sell, or I know like you have that one you won't sell, but like
Mhm.
do you feel satisfied knowing that even if it doesn't sell, you love it so much that if it sits on your wall for the rest of your life, you're perfectly content?
Oh, absolutely. That's all of my paintings. I never paint with the intent to sell, um, unless it's like a commission, you know.
Yeah,
But if it's just stuff I'm like painting, like I never think of, oh, are people gonna like this? Or, you
yeah,
know, is who's, you know, because there are certain things that I do notice sell better that I
right.
do. But I just rather have artwork that I like on my walls and I
Exactly.
enjoy doing than them ever selling. That makes like making something I didn't like and then it's, you know, gets like people buy it. Um,
Yeah, I rarely put thought into if something is this going to be something someone is going to buy. That thought doesn't really come to my mind for the most part. Um, I did have an accidental uh, blessing from a mistake. I had painted this sketch of a guy I was dating, and then it didn't work out, and I was pissed off at him, and I painted over it with black, and then
mhm,
um, I ended up with this black canvas, and I'm like, well, now what do I do with this black canvas? What the fuck am I going to do? This was before I actually consciously chose to paint a canvas black. So then I got my watercolors out and I was looking at them, and I have a few that are like, they're not really technically neon colors, but they come out neon when they dry, and I know what they look like dry.
mhm,
Ooh, I wonder what that would look like on the black. And so I painted one. Just thought, just like whatever. We'll just paint one with these colors. So we get these huge, not huge, but these bright colors on a solid black background. And I posted that, and then it literally sold within 24 hours of posting it. And I'm like, oh wow, okay. And I'm like, that's interesting. And not only did that one sell, but then two other people were like, oh, but I wanted it. And I'm like, well, you can commission me and I'll make you one. And I've never done commission.
mhm.
And so it's kind of that this little accidental black thing turned into this. I ended up three different paintings, like four total, because I sold the first one, and then I had two women commission me, and then I did a fourth one just on my own, just one day, and that one sold as well. So that was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that. It was very unique. And it was like that's the closest thing to creating something to not really to market, but to like a client specifics kind of thing that came from me. And then
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised that, you know, but yeah, there's something about the contrast of color, I think, that draws people to them, because it's, you know, these bright neons on a black background.
Yeah, absolutely. There's it's funny, like a lot of times the paintings that I do sell, it's about like 50-50, but there's some that I'm like, okay, like that I didn't put much effort in them, or I didn't necessarily like, I like them, but
Uh-huh.
they weren't my favorite, but they sell super quick.
And
You
you're like,
know.
oh, interesting.
Hmm.
Do you ever feel like you're like, does that ever make you put yourself in doubt of what you paint for the next time when you go to paint?
If it doesn't sell?
No, if
Or
something you don't like sells. Does that
no, I mean I can like step aside and see why somebody really liked it, you know, or
yeah.
um like I see the appeal in it, you know, and
Hmm.
it doesn't ever, I don't ever doubt it. I mean, there's some that I've done that I'm like, oh, like I really like this one, and I think it's gonna, you know, I'm like I feel like people will like it also, and then a lot of people don't like it, and I'm like, okay, that's cool too. It's gonna be on my wall. I
Yeah,
like it.
exactly. I mean, and even the ones, yeah. I mean, for the most part, that's. I'm not even gonna stop messing. I think I mentioned this earlier. Like, I usually won't stop messing with a painting until it's something that I can see on my wall. Like if I look at it and go, if I walked into a gallery and I saw that, would I want to buy it? And if the answer is yes, then chances are I'm done. Like the painting's done. Like it's good enough. It's going, you know, it's it's fine. Um, and that's usually what's going to tell me more than anything if I'm done with a painting or not. More than
Hmm.
any other measure of what it looks like, what mediums, pretty much the main thing that's going to tell me if a painting is done or not is if I'm going to be okay with it being on my wall until I, kill over and don't live anymore. So when that answer becomes yes, then the painting's done.
Yeah, I think there's times where I want to, there's always like, I look at paintings, I'm like, I can always add more, you know, but I just have to stop at certain times. I'm like, okay, it looks somewhat finished to me. Like, you know?
Exactly. So that reminds me. Okay, so we're at an hour and 11 minutes or so, and technically, I really just asked you to come on for an hour.
Oh,
Do you want to? I know I have your Etsy shop down at the bottom, and you're more than welcome to pass because anyone who wants to see your art can go to your Etsy shop. Is that the best place to find your work? Is there stuff that's not in the shop that's somewhere else?
I think most of the stuff, I'm not too good at posting a lot of things on Etsy in a
Okay.
timely manner. But it's whatever is for sale is on my Instagram.
Okay. And I have that down. I have that scrolling as well. The Instagram and the Etsy are the two things scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And so other than that, is there any other, I mean, obviously you've got the piece. Is that piece you're working on going to be up for grabs when you're done?
Yes, this one's gonna be up for grabs when I'm done. All the other, I have a bunch around my room that are up for grabs. All the horror movie like Halloween series that I'm doing, they're gonna be all up for grabs.
Okay.
Um,
That's like the one you did of the what's the guy where he's in the trash can? I don't know those old movies that well. I did put a comment on the screen from Kate. She said, "Hell yeah, dude, that's the awesome thing of painting subjects you're actually interested in. If it just decorated our own walls, we don't care." Exactly.
exactly. Yep.
And it's so funny.
Decorate our walls with our art and our friends' art.
Oh
That's all
my
I
god,
have on my walls.
I have Kate has a painting. I bought a print of it, and I know, like, if I had tomorrow, if I woke up and I like won the lottery and I could buy whatever I wanted to buy, I'd be like, do you still have? Me calling Kate. Do you still have? I don't even know what it's called. She knows what it's called because I bought the print for it. Um, and then you have one. I don't know if you still have it, but it's similar. It's a naked woman, and there's like I can't even know. You probably don't have it still. I'd have to look in your Etsy. I almost need an OnlyFans account just to afford art I want. Hex Allen says hello. Hex Allen Comics is one of my friends from my comic book world. He says hello.
Hi.
Um, so yeah. So just other than that, anything you're doing coming up that you want to tell anyone about or give?
I'm just this whole month I'm gonna be having more like 8x10 horror movie, like obscure horror movie themed paintings. The next one I will be doing is from Dario Argento's Suspiria.
Ooh, okay.
Um, Also, what was the other one I had in mind? Probably Ginger Snaps and Castle Freak will be my next three ones that will be coming up.
And you said those are 8x10s. Now, if someone wanted an 8x10 or a different size of a horror, like, if they like what those horror ones you're doing, but if they want it bigger, I would imagine you're open to commissions for those.
Yeah, I'm definitely open for commissions. For this month, if it's horror related, that's what I'm sticking to. And yes, whatever size they want it in,
Okay.
I can do it.
Nice. Could you, man, I really want to win the lottery because she's not really a scary character, but would you do Morticia? Like, what is more? I might just have to do it Morticia myself. I mean,
I love Morticia.
She's my favorite.
Yeah, I love her. It's like the ideal relationship with Morticia and Gomez.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I think you already noticed this, but like during the month of October, my kind of social media Facebook thing is I will post a Morticia meme every day.
I've been seeing that.
You've been seeing that? Yeah. That's what I. It's either Morticia or Wednesday. Those are my two favorite when it comes to Halloween or any of that stuff. Morticia and Wednesday Addams are my two favorite female characters of all time. They're just hysterical. And
They're great.
I love both of them. So
sorry, go on. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, I was gonna say. So, do you want to keep going, or do you want to sign off and get to the rest of your life? I don't think I'm kind of at a stopping point in a way.
Yeah. I'm doing the hands right now, which I usually sketch out hands before I do them, but I didn't this time, so I'm struggling with them.
Okay. Well, yeah. I will finish these few brush strokes I'm doing and blot her boobies. I'm blotting her boobies. Basically, I'm taking away the color and leaving the outline, and it leaves this effect behind of something. So this is what so far, this is what I got of mine.
That looks so cool.
Nick
looks really cool.
Great. So I'm going to put you in solo layout. So for those of you that are watching and that are here, this is Helen Tretyakova. Did I say that close?
You got it.
I got
it. You got it.
I'm so proud of myself. Her Etsy shop is down below, as well as her Instagram. And if if you see something that is on Instagram that's not in her shop, just send her a message directly on Instagram. And what pressing piece do you have that's super hot right now that you think people need to know you have it for sale, other than the one you're doing? Obviously.
Let me see. Can I show I have a few. Hold on. Let me take it off the.
Yeah, take that camera and give us a little tour of what you've got, and I'm gonna put mine aside because I'm just. Oh wow! Okay, girl, go to the wall. Super.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I see the one that you had said was based on a dream. It's like a profile picture of someone without hair, right?
It's this one right here. Yeah. Let me show you. Let me get closer to it.
I used that one there with it. It's the one for those watching. This one right here. I love this piece, and this is the one you said you may not ever sell, right?
Yeah, and it's it's strange because usually, like, when I take pictures of my paintings, I feel like a lot of times they'll look better in the picture. But
Mm.
this one is one of the only ones where I've tried to take pictures of it, but I feel like it looks so different in person. And
Oh,
like,
yeah, all
it
paintings,
just has,
they all do.
yeah. So that's
So
the one that, here's
back,
Maddie's art. And I think she's going to be
oh,
on your
wait,
show.
Maddie will be on my show. This one right here to the right. Okay, stop.
Okay.
Nope.
Oh, this
That.
one.
What is that?
It's a girl in a bathtub that slit her wrists.
Oh, okay. It's yeah. Well, with it sideways, I couldn't tell if that was a black jacket or what the black was. Oh,
It's just the water has like some black in it. Just the dark water.
oh, I love that. I just love that. You know, she reminds
Thank
me.
you.
The reason I stopped you on her is because her face is done very Nagel style. Do you know who Nagel is?
I don't. I don't
Shannon.
know who that is.
Shannon says, "Oh man, I love your art and style." You can
Thank
keep
you, Shannon.
you can keep going to other pieces. I just
Okay.
knocked the water brush over. I thank God I had moved the painting. Not that it would have mattered, you know me. I saw that girl with the dead fox or whatever. There's the Mandy that you just
Oh,
did.
this one? Yeah.
And the girl with the hand over her face with the eyes, that is stunning. That piece is so stunning. Um,
Thank you.
your camera is not in focus that much.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Let me
Maybe
try to.
maybe I
Is
don't
that
know what.
better?
Yeah, oh yeah. There you go. Sometimes it's so crazy. Cameras are so ooh, that in the corner. I've seen that. That is I want to say that I can't remember if I saw it on the Instagram or what, but she's
Uh-huh.
I love her. I love her.
Thank you.
Is that
That's
an
one of the pieces that's. Yes, this is. My mom painted this one, actually.
the octopus? Oh, that's so cool.
Yep.
I was gonna say
She
like
does watercolor.
look at your wall and then you see this blue with the octopus. It's kind of out of place.
This
A little bit, just a
this
little bit.
pretty peaceful painting of an octopus.
I know, right? Okay, keep going. What else you got in there?
Hold on, let me just
There's
move
the
my
girl
easels in
holding
the
the
way.
head. I've seen that one. I got that one. I
Yes.
I don't
So
think I put that one in. I did that. I know that painting, but I didn't put it in the video. But I do know that painting. Okay, is that the one
yeah.
you cut her head off? Because you
Yes, so I didn't have enough space for the head and I was like, well, I got the body and the position down
Yep.
and like I'm not really good with hands. It's like hit or miss for me. And that her left-handed her left hand just like looked so like good to me. I was like, I can't redo this. I'm like, so I'm gonna stretch her neck out and give her
That is
6 eyes.
a perfect decision. I love it. Keep going. I want to
Thank
see
you.
more. I want to see more. I love
And
this.
then
I love this part. She okay. That girl with the two guys. I have that
yes.
I have that image saved on my computer, but I didn't use it in the video because I changed all of the images to be 16 by 9 so that they'll look good horizontal wise, you know? And
Uh-huh.
I didn't have the heart her that ticked cropping that would have made no sense because you either end up just seeing her or just seeing the guys and then it would you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
I know
But
what you're saying, yeah.
do you still have the one of the little kids?
I do. I
Oh,
have this one. I don't think I ever posted it on my Etsy. Some paintings I'll do. And then if it's a painting that's sort of like personal,
uh-huh.
I
You'll just
won't post it right away. I'll hold on to it. But it is for sale.
okay.
It wasn't in the beginning. It is now.
You guys out
Yeah.
there who's watching this, hear this. If you want something of hers, there's probably more that hasn't ever been posted. I actually like that, the fact that you don't post everything.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm assuming the human skeleton thing's not you. That's
No,
just
no, it's a poster. It's just like,
I loved biology. It was my favorite
yeah.
subject in school. I think that has a
No.
lot to do with why I paint a lot of females, not females, but a lot of what do you call it? Like I'm not a straight abstract painter.
Yeah.
I like abstract, but definitely not just abstract. I do abstract realism. That's cool. Those are like ghost heads or whatever coming out of a hat or coming out of her heart.
It's out of like a portal that she's
Okay,
holding.
portal. Okay, I've seen that girl. This is the one. The girl laying back with her hands over
This
her.
one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Someone buy one of my pieces, and someone let me win the lottery because I would want to buy that. I'd want that one. I might have to get a print of that.
I can send you a print of it.
You will wait until I pay for a print of it. Okay? I'm so mom.
We'll see about that.
I'm so mama bear. I'm like, no. You know, man, I'm not quite a starving artist yet, but I have lost some weight because I can't eat what I want. Anyway, there's the guy what is okay, Nate, tell me again the name of the guy that's in that dumpster thing. It's from
That's Nosferatu. It's like a vampire
yeah.
movie from like the 1920s, a silent film, and he's coming out of like a boat
Okay.
thing. I don't know
Yeah.
what it's called.
I know
That's a self-portrait.
I don't retain names in my head, and then when I do, it's usually not something like that. So, but go up. There was something up at the top too. Wow, what is that? Is that a rag doll of some kind? What is that?
It's a girl sitting in a chair, and then there's another girl that has zero color left now because
Interesting.
I mean, there's different ways to look at it. That's why I leave a lot of my paintings untitled. I'm like, people see what they want to see.
Right? Yeah. Well, exactly. Because from far away, it looked like they were either holding a rag doll or it was like some kind of a stuffed animal, maybe. Like I could see quite a few different things.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's.
So I do this too. Like Kate and I talked about this, about the fact that almost all of my paintings are hanging on my wall. Oh, there's the other one I'd want. It's right between the masks. The girl that has those like the skulls.
This one?
Oh yeah, that's fucking rad. That's
Yeah, that one's called Temptation.
She's absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's an amazing piece when you see it close up. And that's the thing about, like, I don't do large paintings really, and I have people tell me all the time, do you ever get this, Helen, where they say you need to paint bigger, go bigger?
I mean, I have some large paintings. They're all in the living room.
Okay.
And like I prefer, like I said, it depends on what I'm painting. If there's like a lot going on in the painting, then I would like to do maybe like a larger canvas. And I like painting large canvases, but when I don't have time to paint a large canvas, I do small ones like that.
Yeah, for me I don't do a lot of scenery, and I don't do a lot of extra stuff in there. There's the other one, the two girls. So you've got like the girl that was in the tub, then you've got the girl with the hands, and she's kind of underwater a little bit.
Yeah.
And I love the one with the eye because I use that. That's one of the ones we use as your thumbnail for the stream. And then you had another one with the girl in the water with the blue. That was beautiful.
With the blue. This one.
Yeah, that one. Those are.
That's one of the first ones I've done actually when I started painting.
Oh man, she's. I like that. I like that style. Like, it's the combination of a lot of what I see in your paintings is a lot of dark material, like dark subject and dark material, but with a certain amount of color that's bright or that it's lighter, and it's this contrast. There's this huge contrast to it. It's very nice. I love it.
Thank you.
I'm so happy that I got connected with you and got to have you on the show, and this was fun.
I'm super happy and honored to be on the show.
Thank you. Well, hopefully, for anyone out there that's watching, if you are interested in fine art and you would like to get with Helen and see what she might be able to send to its forever home with you, then her information's down at the bottom. Otherwise, I'm ready to get out of here and go eat something and have a human break. What about you, Helen?
Yep, I'm ready to go.
All right, all right. Well, I'm gonna hit play on the video that I had that I created earlier, the one you are aware of, like you saw it earlier. And uh I'm gonna let it play, and then I'll hit end broadcast right at the end. And you're more than welcome to sign out and go have the rest of your Sunday to yourself.
Sounds good.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun.
This was fun. I was super happy. Like the painting and kind of just casual talking and painting thing. Super super cool idea. I love it. And it was fun. I had so much fun.
Me
I
too.
I as much as I love seeing your wall filled up like that, I think that there's people out there that would be so lucky to take one of those off your hands if they could, if they so could. That would be
Yeah.
they would be a very lucky person to have a Helen Tretyakova. Oh man, I already messed it up.
You got it the other time.
Tretyakova.
There you go.
Yeah, right.
You got
All
it.
right.
It's a tongue twister.
In a little bit, but I love that. I do want to get to a point where I can just say it and I don't have to stumble over it. So yeah. So one more time for all of you that are watching, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with Helen and I. And her information is going to be at the bottom while her video is playing. And again, Helen, I am honored you came on, and have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you, Dory.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Dory.